Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Be Good to Yourself. My name is Chef Billy Breedlove, aka Florida Boy with the Sauce. All right, so I hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. So if it's Wednesday, you know we're gonna have a pro tip. Before we get started, let me give a special shout out to Miami-Dade County Police Department, the Risk of Rebellion Barcast. Listen, guys, if you're not on it yet, go ahead and get yourselves on the VIP chat. It's a lot of fun. Also, check out my guys Chuck organization. It takes a village animal rescue. Check that out. Make a donation if you can. And we got some good things coming up real soon with those guys. All right. So now, let's get into this pro tip. This one is really, really simple. It doesn't even involve any food. So we're going to have some fun. As a pit master, I'm going to show you what I have in my tool chest. Okay? But before we get started, we're going to pour ourselves a little drink. We're going to be sipping on a little Colorado's 291. All right. And this is the small batch. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, be good to yourself. All right, now, let's get started. So, one of the most important things you're going to need as a pit master when you're getting ready to prepare your briskets, your chicken, your ribs, things like that, is a nice, good, sturdy chopping board, okay? You can pick these things up on Amazon, your local restaurant supply store. Make sure you get one that you don't mind that if it gets scuffed up, one that you can definitely sanitize and doesn't get really discolored or anything like that. That's why I went with this thing right here. It's nice and solid, relatively thick, okay? You can sanitize it, you can oil it to help it keeps it shine, okay? So that's one of the biggest things that you need right there. But for right now, we're going to get that out of the way. So what I have here, I picked this up at Home Depot. This is a DeWitt toolbox with wheels. And of course, it has a handle that you can pull along with you. So what I use this for is not my mechanical tools, but I use this for my pitmaster tools. So the first thing we're going to start with, it has this beautiful removable tray. And so I keep things in here like smaller knives, paring knives, things like that. And I always try to make sure everything's nice and dry. Definitely keep it clean. And as crazy as it sounds, keep a good bottle opener. You never know. You're always going to need it when you're having a drink sitting by the fire. You know, thermal pen. Can't say enough about having this. Keeping this, you can keep your temperature. Mallet if you need it. Ring molds, great for making biscuits, or if you want to really make some nice shaped burgers, perfect. Okay, so you know you can use this tray for smaller things. Okay, so now what else we have in here? Another very, very important thing is gloves. Okay, no matter if you're going to be doing this at home or you're going to be at a competition, an event, something like that, you definitely want to always have a good solid amount of gloves with you because you can go through a lot of them. All right, so other things that I have a tendency to keep, I keep a small mop with a couple of heads in a different bag. Okay, and you know I like to keep all my tools together. I'm not a big gadget person, but you know I have a mandolin, so I like to keep that together. You know, when you're making different things, it's always good to have a nice rolling pin that you can use. So these are the things that I keep. So I keep my scimitar in here as well. And when you put your knives in here, make sure you put your knives towards the handle end. So when you pick it up, those knives go back, not tip first into the toolbox. Okay, candy thermometer, you know, when you're frying up stuff. You know, I have a straight bony knife and I have a curved bony knife as well. You know, your slicer, of course, when you're slicing up your brisket. And I know it may seem odd, but you're doing pulled pork, you know, having your bear claws. That's something nice to have there. And then I keep my larger knives also. I do keep them in the cover, but I do keep them in the bottom. The larger ones that don't fit up top. Okay, again, a grater, you never know. Sushi knife as well. You know, basic stuff, a peeler, sushi mat, those kind of things. And one of the things that's really important to keep all your gear nice and sharp, I keep my sharpening stone. But I do keep it in a Ziploc bag, keep it separate from everything else because it is heavy. You don't want this thing floating around, banging on your knives and things like that. And last but not least, I keep a nice heavy cleaver, okay? This is definitely something you want if you want to go through bones, or if you're going to be doing a lot of chopping, if you want to break up lobster tails, things like that. Perfect. That's what this is for. So really and truly, this pro tip is not going to be all that long, but definitely, you know, go through your supplies, make sure everything's up to par. I like to keep everything separate simply because you don't want to keep your tools in a place where somebody could get hurt. You know, the last thing you want is somebody who's not skilled enough playing around with this thing because they think it looks cool, you know, kids and things like that. So you just really, really want to be careful when it comes to those sort of things. Other than that, that's really it. Start to build your collection piece by piece, you know, and when you get yourself a toolbox big enough that you can grow into. This way you can always, if you really, really need to, you can get a bigger box. But this one is really the best way to start. You know, it keeps all your tools together, separate from all your household stuff that, listen, me personally, I'll probably let you borrow money before I let you borrow my knives. So it's one of those things that you always have to keep in mind. And that's really about it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we got some beautiful stuff planned. We're going to be doing a beautiful breakfast this coming Saturday. I'm not going to tell you too much more about it, but listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to yourself.